Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here I am, John Sneisen, and let's debunk a criminal banker. So first of all, Bloomberg View put out a piece on Larry Summers, who is a former Treasury Secretary, talking about why the U.S. government can't be downsized. And we will start off with his first point because, of course, Larry Summers thinks that the government should get involved in the healthcare system and, monopolize and prop up that system in order to basically drag it into oblivion. And the first point is the aging population. As people live longer, government programs have more claims on them. So if entitlements are maintained at current levels or even cut slightly, government spending will increase. What do you think about this first point, John?
Well, first of all, don't think that healthcare needs to be, run by the government. This is all like the whole socialist right-wing even movement that believe, that the government has to take care of healthcare. Why can't we just have everything private and have, a very competitive healthcare system where people have to really, work hard to provide a fantastic product and good health to people, and have the pharmaceutical industry stay the hell out of it, and not using this product that they have to make people sick or just keep them sick, and not why can't we have a healthcare system that actually treats people for the cause, not the symptom?
Absolutely. And you mentioned a big one there, the pharmaceutical system, because that's exactly what it monopolizes. So when you put money into the healthcare system, what you do is you prop up those pharmaceutical companies with your taxes, and it pushes any competitors out of the market. You can't compete with the big guys, so there's no incentive to lower that price. So that healthcare system actually causes the price to go up in the first place. So you put more government in it, and it goes up further, thinking, oh, we're getting free healthcare, when every single day you're paying more in taxes, you're paying for this system that's about to explode like a freaking bubble. And it's just insanity, because in a real free market, you'd have the innovation of new medical marvels and treatments all the time because of the competition. And someone does something stupid and you move to another company who provides a better product at a better price. There is incentive. They overmark the price on this stuff insanely.
Yeah, and the aging population will just have more competitive, enterprises that are out there to help it. Like, we need more nurses, we need more doctors, of course, because the aging population, but not from the government.
And most of the healthcare system, the money doesn't even go towards new doctors. I've noticed that in places like Canada, it's absolutely insane. There's barely any doctors on call, but there's a ton of people in the waiting room waiting like 12 hours.
The management is substantially massive here in Canada. That's the biggest problem. There's so overpropped with management. Managing one person sometimes. Like, when do you need a manager or a supervisor supervising you, standing there just looking at you, supervising you? That's the thought of the government and how stupid they think people are.
Well, and moving on to the next point, it's just insanity. We could go all day on this stuff, as we have, so check our other videos. But the unsustainable dramatic rise in inequality, a role of government, he noted, is to address and ameliorate inequality. So
I got an idea. Tax everybody until we're communist. That's a simple solution to inequality. And everybody's equal, Josh.
Yeah, that's the problem. Imagine being in school and everyone's working on a test, and the school implements equality for the students. So let's put it this way. You study all day, every day to get a straight A on that test, and this other guy does absolutely nothing, and he's lazy. He's laying back, like twiddling his thumbs, throwing elastic bands at people, and then they mark the test, and he gets the same mark as you do after studying all that time. That's equality. I mean, the problem is equality of individual liberty is important. Every individual, no matter what race or what age or what nationality or what religion, etc., should have the same individual liberties under the non-aggression principle. But when it comes to law and extortion, which is like they steal from one person and gives to another, that isn't fair. There's nothing wrong with working hard, and if you're not going to work hard at all and you have no reason, like you don't have a medical problem, blah, 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 and you're just sitting around doing nothing, using the extorted fees of the people who are working hard to get along, then you're the problem, not capitalism. You're the problem, not the market and not the rich.
Well, and as the former Treasury Secretary, he should know very well what's causing this massive inequality. First of all, it's the central banks having their buddies borrowing at 0.0%, while everybody else have to borrow at 7-8%, 19.9% a lot of times, and the massive inflation that they're creating on top of that, because the rich can go and borrow and buy things, while the poor population has to. It's interest rate apartheid that they created, the big banks, to keep the poor and the middle class in shackles.
Absolutely. They push us into debt servitude, and that is their prerogative. They love debt. They love thriving off the debt of the populace, and that's why the system was in place in the first place, just like we recently just went into with the healthcare system. I mean, the whole idea is to shove people into debt. It builds up on the problem, reaction, solution, repeat, the Hegelian dialectic, and it continues on perpetually. And it's all by design. They love people being poor. They love people being dependent because that makes them more powerful. Now let's move on to the next point. Changes in structural pricing that disproportionately affect government. As an example, Summer said, pegging the 1983 Consumer Price Index at $100, the cost of a television today would be $6, while the cost of a day in the hospital or a year in college would be $600. The price of televisions, he noted, doesn't much affect government spending. Hospital prices and college costs do. John?
Well, it's all about cost here. And the rising inflation now. As the inflation rises up, the cost of the government rises up because they are getting their salaries. And we saw this in the Weimar Republic. We've seen it. Actually, Norway is a great example currently, which have very high inflation, because what's happening is every time you have the unions coming in and saying we want more in income because the inflation is going up. So it's just a vicious cycle of everything going up all the time.
Yeah.
And what's happening is you just are destroying everything because of you think that the government needs to constantly print more money in order to sustain their salaries.
Or the private central bank sanctioned under legal tender laws that will print out massive amounts of debt-based fiat that will simply shove up inflation and push people further into debt and poverty, exactly like is planned. And the government isn't necessary, folks. The free market does everything. The government does better and more efficiently and more fairly. And that doesn't mean everyone's running around killing each other. The non-aggression principle is a very real and very important tactic to use when you're talking about this kind of society.
I'm going to quickly go back to the first point of healthcare, because I finally remember what I was going to say. When it comes to the poorest people in the world, they can have charities. Charities take very, very good care of people today in the United States. Yeah. So why do we need this massive government running it? It's my charity or my wife's charity that gets money from the government. But how about she just get the money directly from individuals that wants to support her instead of getting extorted with taxation?
Absolutely. Think about it this way: if there's way more competition in the market, way more innovation, people are less sick because they have medicines for cheaper from the free market, and people are more healthy, etc. So there's less of that. On top of that, people have more jobs, they make more money because there's incentive. Just like Henry Ford pushed forward the weekend, not unions, but Henry Ford, the capitalist free market, created the weekend, guys. Stop saying that it's a union. Capitalism created the weekend, and that gave incentive for other businesses to give the weekend. If a company provides well for their employees, not only will that bring up their demand when people want to go on the market and buy things directly from them because they like their tactics, they like the quality, and they like the value. On top of that, you will see that people will have more money. So people will be paid more at all these places, and then they can afford to put extra money into pools. Cash is where people donate money to help people who can't, physically work or can't physically, make a living.
Mentally challenged. In the case of my wife, it's just
not in the case of your wife. In the case of the people your wife takes care of.
Actually takes care of.
Let's be clear on that.
But yeah, it's just people will always take care of other people and don't think that people are selfish. Look at Hurricane Harvey right now. You see like how selfish people were down there, where everybody's helping everybody. So
yeah.
people are caring, and people are, compassionate about other human beings. That's our ground core and how we're built up.
While people were saving each other's lives and saving their neighbor during Hurricane Harvey in Texas, the government was putting together curfews and going around areas making sure there's no one out at night so that they can arrest them and put them, in a cage because they were, maybe they're trying to help someone at nighttime and save their life. It's just insane. Government gets in the way of true individualist freedom and prosperity.
Okay, so the last point, Josh.
Yeah, the last point. Okay. Rising national security costs. Summers noted that the three major countries that could be seen as potential American adversaries, China, Russia, and Iran, are all increasing military spending at rapid rates. It is unrealistic to think that they won't affect American policy, despite the wishes of many political liberals who hoped government could raise revenue from defense cuts. To view the Pentagon as a cash cow is a grave and serious mistake, Summers said. What do you think, John?
I can't stop laughing about that one. Well, first of all, who has the biggest military spending in the world?
Trillions of dollars. Trillions.
Yeah, so maybe somebody's trying to keep up with you because you created a freaking empire all over the world with military bases in every single country almost.
I'm no fan of like Iran and all these governments, China, but I mean the point is, why wouldn't they want to defend themselves when this massive world order is going around them and putting their guns to their heads?
Well, this is the problem. Like, it's not national security. Like, it's what he's talking about is actually an attack force to attack everybody, because that's what the United States have done throughout the last 100 years. Mm-hmm. They've been going and attacking people all over the world. It's not a defense force. Like, that's what military or you could have the general populace be trained, even if it's without the government, to protect themselves and defend themselves. Yeah. But you don't go and attack people. It's a non-aggression principle, and this guy thinks that of course, because everybody else wants to be aggressive, we need to even do more. Like, first of all, they're aggressive because the United States cost we're aggressive in the first place.
Well, absolutely. It's exactly what I was saying before. It was a problem, reaction, solution, repeat, the Hegelian dialectic. Let's go overseas and arm all these rebel groups to go against Russia, to go against Iran, etc., etc. Let's arm Iraq, let's arm the Taliban, let's arm Al-Qaeda, let's arm ISIS, blah, blah, blah. Then let's bomb the country, create a bunch of refugees, bring them over, put them on welfare, while, causing a vast de-assimilation of the society at the same time as continuing to bomb them, pissing more people off, arming those people that are pissed off, creating more conflict, and then creating national security issues. You're the ones doing it. And yes, I'm not defending the sick pieces of trash that you guys are arming. I'm saying that you are the problem. You are creating the problem. You get a reaction from the public through public school indoctrination camps, universities, and the mainstream media. Also government sanctioned. Look up Operation Mockingbird, etc. And then you get a populace in fear, and a populace in fear and a populace in debt is a populace in servitude, and you will get exactly what you want because the people are too, unfortunately, stupid to actually understand what they're getting into. There was a recent video where all these people were congratulating North Korea on creating a hydrogen bomb on the street because they didn't even know who he was, and they're like, great job, well done, I applaud you. And all these teenagers the public is stupid. Not you guys watching, but I mean, so many people in the vast populace are just so incredibly brainwashed by the public school system, government, and the media propped up by the government. And then you have all these corporatist companies, big corporations that are propped up by the government. You have the debt accumulation at the central bank as people are pushed into poverty. Inflation rates go rampant. Again, propped up by the government. Every problem we currently have today is caused by the government. So what does that leave us off with? Well, I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, if we get rid of this all-knowing state, all-powerful state, this nanny state, this police state, this militarized military-industrial complex, globalist order, maybe, just maybe, we will be able to work on our own as free individuals and actually come to an understanding of what real freedom is and what real sustainability is and what real prosperity is.
Yeah. Well, to finish it off, Larry Summers and his bankster thugs that he hangs around with and threaten everybody that come to expose what they're doing. This guy here, he clearly, like, we clearly debunked what he's saying here. He wants to, you know, go out and threaten people. He threatened Raghuram Rajan and called him a Luddite when he exposed to the IMF the massive, you know, collapse that was about to happen. And everybody said, like, no, you're stupid, like, you're a Luddite, as he called him, you know, his academic fanciness, you know, he likes to throw out there. He's nothing more than a thug for the government and his bankster buddies. That's all that he is, and
it's all he'll be remembered by.
Yeah, unfortunately. So that's the bottom line here, and we of course have gone pretty deep into, you know, debunking a lot of his 4 ideas. And we need to grow the government.
I mean, it was honestly, to be quite honest, John, it was easier debunking this than most 12-year-olds. So, I mean, it's just a sign of the people that people put their, their lives in the hands of. These people that people put so much dependence in. I mean, it is really terrifying how stupid some of these people are, and surprise, surprise, the banker elitist is a Democrat. Republicans are equally bad too, but hell, I mean, the amount of people on the left that are holdouts and want to push bigger and bigger government all the time seem to completely turn their head away from the fact that so many of these people love the left, because it means growing the size and scope of government, which means growing their power and their ability to take control over so-called free individuals.
Well, Larry Summers wants a paycheck.
Absolutely. Freedom comes from within, guys. You are born with it. It comes to you at birth. You are free. The government does not give you your freedom.
Or
remember
any other
that.
entity.
Understand that. You are in charge of your own life. Govern yourself. Be self-sustainable. Be self-responsible. Be financially responsible. And understand how important that is to the very basis of life itself. Because liberty, the only person in the world that you truly have control over is yourself. And without that, what's the point? You lose the base of life. The entire basis. So thanks for going into this with us, John. And we have many more videos on this subject. Just check it out. We've done extensive interviews and reports, etc. So until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth,
be the change.
Now to sound like an auctioneer. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube as they bring in the Anti-Defamation League to flag all of our content as hate speech. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description in the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to check me out at Josh Sigurdson at Steemit.com. That's Steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid via cryptocurrency, Steem that is, by the upvote and demand of your post. It's bound to take out the dinosaur social media, so I hope to see you there. But until next time, check out this word from our sponsor.
Are you looking to exchange a large amount of US dollars? Don't overpay with the bank on currency exchange. Think outside the bank. Banks charge unnecessary fees of up to 3%. Truth be told, currency exchange with the bank will cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars. Start saving now. Step 1. Register online. Visit our website and click Get Started. Step 2. Book a transaction. Phone us for a quote and to complete the transaction. We'll need to know which currencies you are converting and how much. Step 3. Transfer of funds. Once you confirm the transaction, we initiate an electronic funds transfer from the account that you choose. Your purchased funds are then transferred back to you in the account that you choose within 1 business day. It's that easy. Start saving hundreds of dollars on currency exchange with CBCE. Sign up online or give us a call today.